Everyone has heard of Sharia law, but the point is that Sharia is much more than law. It's much more than courts and legal decisions, although it does include that. It's actually a manual for a civilization. It includes customs, attitudes, manners, theology, philosophy, how to knock at a door, how to say hello, how to have sex, how to raise children, and how to relate to Kafirs. And if you're a Kafir, you need to know that you're already following some aspect of Sharia. Now, by the way, no nation is 100% Sharia, even Saudi Arabia, for instance, although Sharia definitely influences its entire legal system. The reason is that Sharia is not sophisticated enough for the modern life. Countries that use a great deal of Sharia are Saudi Arabia, Sudan, Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Yemen. Now, what's important is that nations can choose a little or a lot of Sharia, but if you're Islamic, you'll always have some Sharia. In the early 20s, Kemal Ataturk basically had a revolution in Turkey, and the Sharia was fairly well done away with. But today, the Sharia is coming back to Turkey. Now, unbeknownst to you, you're already following the Sharia here in America, or at least America's following it for you. Here's one of the ways we follow Sharia. Have you heard any good Mohammed jokes? You've heard jokes about St. Peter, Jesus, and God, but I bet you've never heard one about Mohammed. And what about those cartoons, the Mohammed cartoons? Remember those? In Tennessee today, and through the rest of America, textbooks increasingly tell only the Islamic side of history. A clerk who is a Muslim may apply for a job, and then when they get it, show up wearing a hijab and demand that they be allowed to wear their hijab on the job. Now, it's sometimes what's important is what you don't see. And the next time you go to a movie and the bad guys are white or black, ask yourself this question: how come they never seem to be Muslim? A way that the Sharia is followed in America is at interfaith gatherings in which Christians, Jews, and Muslims get together. The rules forbid the Muslims being offended. Well, that's one of the ways of following the Sharia. There's no critical study that I'm aware of in any university or college about Islam. Now, when I say a critical study, I don't mean a Survey 101 Religions of the World. I'm talking about really criticizing aspects of the Quran. One of the ways that we follow the Sharia is we've adapted our language so that we never offend Muslims. There's no jihad, it's terrorism. And then we have the newest word, which is combating violent extremism. If you want to measure this, read the 9/11 report. If you read the first 9/11 report, it includes words like Islam, jihad, and Muslim. No more, they're gone. Sharia financing and banking are being increasingly accepted in the United States and Europe. Law enforcement only uses Muslims to translate Arabic. But then again, law enforcement here in Tennessee can only be trained by those approved by the Muslim Brotherhood. The same is true at the federal level. Here in Tennessee and the rest of America, textbooks, if they deal with Islam, are written by Muslims. And here's what's important. The state of Tennessee enforces Sharia by, if you're asked a question, you're only allowed to be graded correct by giving an Islamic answer. One of the things that you're taught in textbooks now is that Christians, Jews, and Muslims all worship the same God, which is a load of bunk. But that's the only acceptable answer. So in the state of Tennessee, if you ask the question, do Christians, Jews, and Muslims worship the same God? And you say no, the state says you're wrong. They enforce the Sharia. There are refugees coming to America. Only those approved by the OIC, Organization of Islamic Cooperation, get to come here. Have you ever noticed that we hear talk about Syrian refugees, but how come we don't hear about Christian refugees? Well, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation in the United Nations determines who we get, and the Sharia says that the Muslim is to always be given preference. So therefore, we get the Muslim refugees, very few Christian refugees. So these are all ways in which Islam is dictating the customs and habits and civilization of America. So, welcome to a Sharia America, because it's there whether you see it or not. Thank you.